and welcome to another weekly update on our progress for the 1997 Subaru Impreza rally car. Visually, you may not see a whole lot different than last week's video, but what we've gotten done is a whole lot of the metal fabrication on it, and we're pretty much done, or very, very close to being done with those things, so we can get the paint and everything handled on it. Next day or two, that's about where we'll be. So very quickly, we still got to finalize the mounting for the lower radiator support and get that all buttoned up, but we'll get that done. That's just maybe half a day's worth of work there. We've got the plates underneath each little frame section, which is also right where this A-pillar bar sits on top of. We've got those all welded up and reinforced, and the lower plates underneath these frame horns installed. So all of that is wrapped up. What we don't have done here is the angle iron, 3x3 angle iron that we're using for kind of like a rock slide reinforcement for these rockers. I did go pick that stuff up. So we've got the material here. That was the holdup there. The guys have already got all the metal prepped and ready to go on. So we'll get that cut and fitted and welded in place. And the square tubing that is used for the seat mounts. So both of the seat mounts are being replaced because, and I explained that in a previous video, they had been cut at or cut down to where they were very unsafe and flimsy. So we're replacing those bars. That was something else that was just waiting on material, and we've got that now, so we're going to get that knocked out. We did build some diamond plate aluminum floor plates. Not really for anything other than added grip to the floor versus the factory just sheet metal, versus just sticking down, anti-skid pill and stick stuff. And it looks better, but it also adds another layer of thickness and reinforcement to the floor, specifically this driver's side where I talked about it being kind of rotted out over around the floor here. Although we welded the plates down on the bottom, the top side was still so thin, we couldn't get the sheet metal to really, weld anything down there to really patch it. And so the other option was we'll just put another piece here all together. And then there's something solid to step on, get in and out on, all that also doesn't slip when you're wet, muddy, driving, all that. Which is real important. So that kind of puts the finishing touches on kind of the interior work there. Inside with the cage and everything, we're completely done now, short of just kind of cleaning things up and getting it ready for paint, which is a little bit of grinding, a little bit of wire wheel work, that kind of stuff. But just a little bit. You don't usually want to touch too much on any of that stuff. But we do want to get these old brake lines out. We're going to make new brake lines, so we still need to pull those out of here. And the fire extinguisher mount brackets. And I think at that point, we're ready to clean everything up and paint it on the inside. That way we can start putting everything back in here. As of putting things back in, we've got roll bar padding, we've got the floor plates, we've got the wire harnesses done and ready. I've got those hanging over on a rack over there. Pretty much we've already been gone through, pulled the unnecessary stuff out, and I still got to wrap them and sheath them, but I don't want to do that until I get them laid out in the car. So if I need to change links or routing or anything like that, I can do that, have it the way I want it, then pull it out, wrap it, and then lay it right back in. So, but then once the paint's done this week, the harness will go in. Then the seats, the floor pans, all that can kind of go back in the dash. Everything, roll bar padding, can all go back inside. As of the engine compartment, the engine, we haven't opened it up at all, so that's an easy put right back in. We'll put all the accessories, the intake manifold and all that back into it. We've got the DCCD transmission going on it. We do have a controller coming for it, so we'll have the ability to, control the power distribution of the center diff and the lockup of it and the release of it with the handbrake and all that. So all the benefits of having that DCCD 6-speed transmission will be in place. New axles up front, because we didn't have any axles since this has been set up rear-wheel drive. So new axles up front. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot really changing up front. The harness is getting fixed. Some hoses are getting replaced. I've talked previously about how we're fixing the throttle body layout issue, and that really everything's just kind of go back in here, but better routed, better secure, that kind of thing. Then drive shaft rear diff, we got the 4.44 rear diff that matches the transmission all going in here as well. So that will be in place. I do have to get different rear axles to go with that diff because they are different than the ones that were in the car. All the metal work back here, for the most part, is done. There's a little bit, just little things here and there to do, but the fender quarter panels, the bumper support, all that's pretty much in place. We got some Bondo put down on where the fenders had been replaced before, and those had started cracking and separating, and we had put it back together, reinforced it on the back side to keep it all tied together, much more stout and stiff. And then we've Bondoed it out. So we've got to sand that, smooth that out, and then spray it. We've got the trunk lid off with the spoiler off of it, where I had said previously where we had that dent. So we're going to kind of push that dent out, fix that, smooth the paint out. We'll spray it because there's paint damage coming off of it, and then put the spoiler back on it. And again, it's just kind of bolting the subframe back in, subframe's there, but the rear diff and suspension and all that back in place. We've got everything cleaned up, ready to go. So it's just a matter of kind of piecing all of it back together. Once we finally get the last bit of metal work done and get the paint on. So we are going to, because we have done so much metal work, and there is a lot of this that was just already beat up in raw metal, and that really needs to be sealed. So we got body sealer going in places and all that. But either way, over the next couple of days, we'll get everything prepped, and we're going to spray it white with industrial quality paint, enamel, from here all the way through the interior. And that white, so we'll leave the green up here, leave the green back here, and we'll deal with the exterior color later, but the white will go on here to seal everything up and make it all uniform one color again. And at that point, I think later this week we'll be at a point where we start kind of bolting everything back onto it. So it'll be kind of a short video today because that's really where we're at with it. It's been a week of just little small tedious welding, fabricating kind of stuff. Nothing dramatic, but it is most definitely progress. So I think this week you'll see it actually change appearance, because it will get some color to it and things will start going back on it. So give me another week, and I think you'll really kind of be able to catch the difference, see the difference in this vehicle. Most definitely a whole lot different than when it first rolled in here. And it'll be amazing here in a couple of weeks when this thing rolls back out of here. So that's the game plan. I think we've got about 2 to 3 weeks left in it. Like I said, I think the assembly work will actually go together pretty fast. I do need to make the harness for the light and fan controls and everything off of this control module. The wiring that came off of it, they were kind of utilizing some of the factory harness and some of their own wires just ran kind of everywhere and within things. And so nothing was really laid out well and serviceable where we'll have it nice and organized. And it will actually be completely independent of the factory harness. So a lot of the things I pulled out of the factory harness are lights, fans, radio speakers, that stuff doesn't matter, but wiper control, horn, which are all the things that you really control from this control panel. So I'll have all that in place, but I've got to build that. And I'll kind of wait till we get the rest of the car laid out, then run that, because obviously I can't do it until we get the paint and everything done. So, and then as we're putting in the wire harnesses, also when we'll put in the new brake lines. I think that about covers it. We're trying to hustle and get this done pretty quickly, a lot faster than, it's taken longer than anticipated because there was a whole lot more on this car that needed attention than we could foresee. But at the same time, I think we're working very quickly considering everything, that we're having to do. So, trying to hurry up, get it knocked out, and that way it can be ready to roll and ready to race this year. So it's July. July 1st is tomorrow. So I don't see really why we won't have this up and running this month and ready to roll. So that way it's very likely this thing's going to see some action, this fall, this winter. So anyway, that's where we're at. I'm going to leave it at that and give you guys another update in a week.